Welcome to Holistic Human Performance Podcast. My name is Gena, where we talk all things holistic health, wellness, spirituality, fitness, meditation, energetics, and so much more to help you become the healthiest version of yourself. Let's dive in. This is not medical advice. This is simply to help you on your journey through health, fitness, and wellness. I hope this helps. You can complement this with anything that you are doing currently in your life. Enjoy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Holistic Human Performance Podcast. I'm your host, Gena Bradshaw, and today we have two special guests that are joining us. We have Tom Marino and Adam Hurd, and I am so blessed to know these two trailblazers. Really, they're so awesome to know. I am really inspired by what they do. Not only do they help entrepreneurs, but it's those who are really wanting to make a difference in this life. And they are mentors to others. So, and also they are authors, co-authors. They have multiple businesses together and on their own. And I'm so pleased to have them on. So without further ado, welcome.
Thank you, Gena.
Thanks for having us.
That was an awesome opening.
I'm so glad. So, we're going to start off with how you even got started on the journey of what you're even doing today. So, Tom, let's start with you. You know, how you got into the journey of where you're at today.
Yeah, so fantastic. I mean, it's been a fun journey, that's for sure. So the way I came to being a life coach and working with Adam really started about 5 years ago. I was working as a VP of operations for one of the largest healthcare group practices in New York State. And I'm a physician assistant by training. And I had left that job to go become a chief operating officer for a small company. And after 30 days, I was like, this is not for me. This is not what I want to be doing. This is not who I am. And I quit that job after 60 days, had no job to go to, was like, all right, what am I going to do now? Right. And you're thinking about all those life stressors and you're like, okay, let's figure this out. So I got laser focused, started a healthcare consulting business, took on a client, a couple months later, took on another client, was working really full time. And had the best year of my life that year, both financially and freedom-wise, you know, being able to call my own shots and do my own thing. And that really led me into wanting to help other people in similar stuck, stressed out, burnt out situations to achieve what their deepest desires were, to work on their own, maybe to be their own business owner, but more to really find that thing that satisfies and brings purpose to their life. And so 4 years ago, I started a life coaching business. And then about 2 years ago, Adam and I got together and we met through Long Island Networkers. And we had so many synergies. And, you know, we said, my clients need your help. Your clients need my help. Makes sense that we come together. And that's how we got to here and forming Atomic Business Coaching.
That's so cool. I love that. Adam, what's up with you?
Yeah, so my journey started when I was really young. I was 7 years old, and up until I was 6, I lived in an entrepreneurial family where my father ran one of the largest businesses on Long Island for mattresses and furniture. Anyone who knows the 80s, there was a company called Hillside Bedding, and that he owned that. And what happened is the business did not go so well. My parents ended up getting divorced. So they went out of business, got divorced, and there was no money because there was no business. So my mom had to go and work full time. And I had 2 younger brothers that I ended up kind of becoming their father. So I had to initially mentor people at 7 years old, and I was not ready for that. We had a live-in nanny, but she was kind of there just to make sure we didn't hurt ourselves. She didn't really teach us to do anything. She didn't really help us out with our lives. And at that moment, I just kind of knew it was my life's purpose, specifically for my brothers, to really mentor and guide people along their way. When I was 16, I went to New Hyde Park High School, and it's one of only 4 schools in all of New York State that has something called the Academy of Finance. And what that is I attended Hofstra in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade in high school. And it's specifically there to learn how to be in finance. And that moment when I first stepped in there and heard the first professor, Jim Campisi, he was a professor at Hofstra, when he told me about this world of finance, I knew this is a way that I could help people. This is a way that it's everybody in the world deals with finance. It's everyone's part-time job. Well, to speed it up, as I spent my career of the last 23 years in finance, I've worked for some large companies like Citigroup and BNY and MetLife and MassMutual. And in 2016, I was given the opportunity to have my own firm, 642 Advising, underneath the MassMutual umbrella. And I was already helping a lot of business owners through financial planning. And then I created a system called BOSS, which was Business Owner Strategic Solutions, where I was really giving them business advice. And I became a business advisor. And I was really helping them through the day-to-day. And just like Tom said earlier, I realized that it's great. All the strategies and tactics and how to operate a business, I can really help them fulfill and understand and execute. But when it came to their mental state and how to deal with their personal life and all those, they were lacking. And that's where I realized, like, you cannot be a whole person. You can't be holistic. You can't have human performance without having all of these different areas across being a person. Forget about owning a business or being a dad or a mom or a wife or a husband or a girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever it is. To have the complete package, you need all of these things. And that's where, when I met Tom, I was like, holy cow, it's like he was sent to me, because I was dealing with so many of these clients that I could not get them across the finish line. And once he and I started working with them, I've seen drastic improvement for my clients. And it's a wonderful experience. And we didn't create it, it just kind of happened.
That is amazing. I'm the two of you together are very synergistic, and it's really cool how, because I also see this a lot, and I'm sure you do as well, the competitive nature with coaches, like, no, my business is better than yours. But I really think that collaboration is key to so much success, but also financial freedom and whatever, that looks like to you. That I love both of your stories and how you started off doing something so different, but also it was so necessary to the building blocks of where you're at today. And what's also really cool is you're both authors. Woo! So, okay, Tom, let's talk about your journey as becoming an author, because the three of us are all authors and we know that it's quite a journey. So why don't you share that with us?
Yeah, it started back in let's see, the book came out in my first book came out in 2021. So it's called Bridge to Change, and it's about making change very simple for people. And the goal of the book was to just take change apart and make it so that you can integrate it into your daily living and all of that. And the inspiration really for the book came from my first couple of years of coaching. And I was like, I'm having these same conversations over and over and over and over. And I'm like, why don't I just put it down on paper? And I worked with a coach because I'd never written a book before. I had no idea how to write a book, no idea what to do. And I actually wrote that book in 90 days. That book went from nothing to being published in 90 days. And it was such a great experience. And I learned how to do it. And I have a process now, what Adam and I would call a standard operating procedure for writing a book. But we have a process now to mass produce more books, because we are very focused in the process and know exactly what needs to happen along the way to make it happen. But I always had that desire to write a book. I've always wanted to do that. And that opportunity literally came in front of me I was scrolling through Facebook one day and I saw this thing, write a book in 90 days. And I'm like, how is that even possible? And I saw it, I tested it out, I tried it. And, it's been out there for a couple of years. And now Adam and I are working on our second book together. I'll let him talk more about the morning meeting and what we wrote there. But we're working on our second book together, and I'm working on my second book as a sequel to Bridge to Change, called The Adrenalized Life, because that is something that I've coined as, and Adam's got the hat on, that I've coined as my emotional brand for coaching, is to live an adrenalized life, live with intention and gratitude and courage and reflection, and how to build momentum and take action every single day of your life. And, it's all because I just have so much I want to share with people. And you never know the power of a book and what happens. And my goal in life is always to reach at least one person with everything that I do, right? Just reach that one person. And my dad actually gave my book to this woman that he worked with. And a year later, she reached out to my dad to say hi. And she said she read my book, and she said my book made change so simple for her. She was able to lose 72 pounds because of what I said in the book. And I was like, wow, that is just amazing. Like, I was so happy for her that she could make those changes in her life and have such an impactful change in her life. And that's why I write, is to help other people that I may not be able to connect with one-on-one like this, and in on my coaching program and through social media. It's really just to help somebody out there. And that was the whole reason why I got into being an author and writing.
That's beautiful. I love that. And I can resonate with that because I too was like, I'm saying the same thing over and over and over again. And I just want to condense it and just be like, here is everything you need to know for, this point in life. And I think the most important aspect, because I know some people will write books because they're like, oh, this will make me more money, or, XYZ. But I mean, clearly, for when you write your books, it's like, no, I'm helping someone. I'm
Right.
here to show them that there is a guiding light. I'm here to help them and expand in so many different ways. Your book isn't even about how to lose weight, but it helped this woman lose 72 pounds.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thanks. That's awesome.
Yeah. So Adam, tell us about your book and your venture. And then you also tell us about the collaborative, your co-author with Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. And my book is the 642 Day Planner. So as the two of you, I am not the same type of an author. As Tom and I have worked together, I've become a different type of author. But in my professional life, I am analytical and I am tactical, right? In my personal life, I'm extremely creative. I love photography and sculpting and painting and all those other things. And that's what allows me to have this harmony in my life and kind of right brain, left brain style thing. And I had a mentor one time who's a business coach. That's how I got here, was by having coaches myself and mentors myself. And they were like, you really have to separate those two in order to relieve yourself. And while that's wonderful, when I created my book, I didn't want to have this beautiful read and emotionally impact people and do all of that. What I did is I used a system, or I had a system that I was using that really worked for me. And it was this system called 642. And it was basically a way to operate every single day and how to get through your business day and make sure things are working. Yeah, there's some stuff that we write in there and everything, but really the book is tactical, and it's just use this scheduling planner every single day to compartmentalize the time and time block in order to achieve all the things that you want to do. And we have a scoring system, and you can see your improvement over time. And really what I did that for was to help people, because I'm like, if this worked for me, it has to work. Other people have to have this problem, and this could be the solution. And I ended up becoming the number 41 bestseller on the Amazon list for strategic business planning. And the way that happened is there was a regional director for Macy's that got a hold of my planner, and they loved it. And they literally bought it for every one of their management staff. And they're like, this book is incredible. I want my people to use this. And so that's how I ended up getting to that level of it. But it was really amazing to hear the stories from people who are using it and say, this works. It's a system. Now, I've had many people adapt to their own, and that's truly what I wanted. This is a foundation and a way to start understanding how to organize your time. And you have to do whatever works for you. But it was great. And it's a 90-day planner. It has some really cool things in it, like how to catch up on your week and all those aspects of, I mandate everybody. Here's a little sneak peek. I mandate everybody. The first page talks about how you must take a vacation every 90 days. And I start the book off with, this is probably not what you thought a planner would say, is take time off. This is not how you're going to be more productive. But it's a requirement that I have with all of my clients, and even with Tom and I now. Every 90 days, take a break. I don't care if you go to, Bali or, Europe. You could sit in your pajamas at home, but you got to take a break. So that was that book. When Tom and I came together, we took a blend of what he was doing and what I was doing. And this book is called The Morning Meeting. And really what this is Tom, why don't you read, what does it say right under The Morning Meeting there?
Right on the morning meeting, it says the power of gratitude, reflection, and prioritization.
I love that.
So we took a lot of what Tom's work was prior, which was this gratitude and reflection, and we took a lot of what I've done, which is prioritization, and we found a way to have people in under 5 minutes every morning really go through, reflect on their previous day, show some gratitude on what's going on, write down a system that I have, what went right, what went wrong, what do I need help with, so you can really reflect on yesterday, figure out what you need to do today, and then the last piece is prioritizing your top 3 priorities. It's very, very simple, but it's a behavior, right? It's something that you can get into the habit of doing every morning and will really enhance everything that you're going to do for the rest of your day, week, month, and year. So yeah, that's the short version of that book.
That is so cool. And I also love that you're both men and you are bringing this spiritual aspect, like unknowingly, right? Where it's like, hey, yes, we are talking about business. However, there are other things that you kind of need to do in your life in order to find that success, whatever that means to you. And prosperity, wealth, health, all of these different relationships, all of these different aspects. So I really, and that's why I wanted to have you guys on too. Like, I really, really love that you're both coming together, number one, and number two, like as men, you're just standing in your power and being like, hey, like, this is what we do. This is how we help people. And we're here to show you the way. I love it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a very holistic approach that we take
Yes.
in our business, and it's to help everyone see. So many of us look at this work-life balance, and we look at all of these different competing priorities, and it's always that competition. And you said this before, we're not competing with each other, we're collaborating with each other, and that's really what we want our clients to be able to do, is collaborate with themselves and not compete with themselves, and create these, when you say balance always is one weight against another. There's always some kind of pitting against something. And we want harmony for people. We want people to experience that harmony and that fluidity of life that life really has to offer, and recognize you are a whole person. You cannot just be a business owner and then go and flip on a switch to be a husband and a father and all these other things. You have to be able to use a dial instead and dial it up, right? You dial it up to daddy time, you dial it down to rest time, and then you dial back up in business. And we want people to see that when we try to separate our individuality and who we are as individuals versus who we are as business owners and who we are as fathers and husbands and all this other stuff, you create more complexity in life. And we really want to make it simple. If you have harmony, life flows very fluidly, and it means you're taking care of all parts of your life. And Jenna, like you say, mind, body, and soul, that's what we're really trying to connect for people, is mind, body, and soul, and bring it to their business life, and help them to experience it so that they reach every desire that they've ever wanted to achieve.
Preach. I love that. Adam, why don't you also kind of touch on Long Island Networkers and how this plays a role? Because community is key. And, to be a lone wolf, I think, is really just shooting yourself in the foot. So why don't you talk a little bit about Long Island Networkers?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the opportunity to do that. I've built my entire career on networking. It was just a staple in the finance industry that you network, whether it was on the golf course or in the boardroom or out at cocktail hours. And I've really been lucky enough to have been taught the right way to do that. And I decided at one point I didn't like what I saw out there on Long Island. I'm born and raised in Long Island. I love this community, but I felt that we were risking a potential of not having a community anymore. We were risking a potential of future entrepreneurs leaving this great community that we have because of expenses or lack of that connection, lack of support. And it was almost turning into Manhattan, where everybody is kind of in their own bubble And I was very, very worried about that. So I said, I probably can do something about this. And I created a group called Long Island Networkers, and it was exclusive to Long Island businesses. We didn't let people from outside that community enter in. We wanted to have some synergy amongst those people and purpose of what we were doing. And our tagline is connect, collab, and grow. And that's really what we were trying to do, is connect with one another, collaborate together, and grow through that. And this networking group wasn't about transactional, like, hey, can you get me clients? Can I get you clients? That's not what it was about. It was about resources. How can I help you and how can you help me? Okay. The byproduct is, yeah, of course, we're going to be able to exchange business sometimes, but that wasn't the intention. And that's actually where the three of us met. And I really wanted it to be very, very different than what every other networking group I've ever been to. I wanted it to be more exclusive, more organized. I wanted it to be a place where there wasn't competition. Okay. There was compliments. So I didn't say you can only have one business coach in there or one, holistic healing person in there. I could have 7, but the idea was you have to be here to help one another. You can't like try to hold off from everything. And then the last piece of it was I wanted to have a good environment. So we created these lunches that were in private rooms, 4-course meals at higher end restaurants, which was enjoyable. And, you're not sitting in a diner or coffee shop or Panera Bread. Those are all great, but not for what I was looking for. And then we created these other, what were called meetups, where we just get together and socialize. And that was where I had an opportunity to meet the rest of your family, Gena, which was cool. I got to meet your father, and it was just, it's nice to connect that way. And when you know more about people, instead of just about what their business is or their mission is or their vision is, and that, what's your ideal client, that's wonderful. You need to know that. But I want to know the people I'm doing business with. And that was the purpose of doing that. And we took a break last summer, and we are relaunching again. And we're going to be moving Long Island Networkers underneath the Atomic Business Coaching brand. It's still going to be its own Long Island Networkers, but we're going to have our team operate that so we can make sure it's done correctly.
So cool. Can't wait to be there. I'm so excited for the relaunch. This is going to be so fantastic. And yes, we all met at this networking group. I'm so excited. Oh man, it's so, with all of this, all the things that you're doing, I would love for each of you to give some words of wisdom to the listeners. So Tom, why don't you start?
Oh man. All right. That's words of wisdom. So here's the thing. Since I was awakened to this new way of life 5 years ago, 6 years ago now, since I turned 40, because I'm the old man in the room, right, Adam? We joke about that all the time, how I'm older than him. But
so old.
The thing that I have learned since that turning point in my life is that you have to enjoy the journey and not focus so much on the destination. Because every single thing that comes your way on your journey, no matter what it is, good, bad, or indifferent, everything is an opportunity to learn. Everything is an opportunity to allow yourself to grow and to choose growth. And, I've learned that when I was so focused on results and so focused on the destination, that I missed a lot of things along the way. And you can't go back and do those things. So recognize that you're on this journey, and everything that comes into your journey from wherever it comes is really something for you to enjoy, to experience, to learn from and grow from. But more importantly, recognize that it's something that is preparing you for something you have no idea what you're being prepared for. 6 years ago, I could have never thought that I would have had a coaching business, written a book, written another book, been part of a radio show on LA News Radio, had my own podcast, now have a podcast with Adam, now have a business with Adam. I could never have imagined any of that. And I never saw that prior to taking the plunge into the ocean here, learning how to swim, and just trusting the whole process was going to work for my benefit. And it really started with me quitting something that I knew was entirely misaligned with who I was as a person, a human being. And I have learned to trust that process and trust the journey that I'm on. I know that there's a lot I don't know, and that everything that's going to come my way, as long as I learn from it, it's going to be something that helps me to fulfill my life purpose.
That was beautiful. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Adam.
Yeah. So let's see. Last words of wisdom is, I'd say you have one mind and one body. You don't get another. And you really have to guard that with your life. You don't have one business. You don't have one choice. You don't have one opportunity. You'll have many of those, but you have to be very careful of what you put into your mind and what you put into your body. All those things that come in is what's going to be the output you get. And many people tend to forget along the way of building their business of why they got into this. And while there's some rare few that want to change the world or want to be titans of industry and be multi-billionaires, the 99% of us who are not that, we got into this usually to live an amazing, fulfilling life while we get to help people simultaneously. And I think so many people forget what is their purpose of creating this business, and they get caught up with the minutia of the day to day. And that's really who Tom and I work with, is these business owners who are in a stuck position. They've had relative success, but they don't know where to go from here, and they feel like they have to keep up with this success just because they built this thing. And they give up everything they don't need to. They give up their personal life, they give up their health, they give up their family, they give up any interest that they may have had outside of business, which tends to shut down their creativity and reflects over to their business, and it just gets stagnated. And that's the thing, is if you can take care of your mind and your body, this is why we have such an amazing connection with you. If you can take care of that, you can take care of everything else. But that's where I would leave it, is you really have to always understand the intention of why you are doing this thing that you are doing, so you can continue to go down that route and not just be carried down the flow of life.
Amazing. Thank you both. That was incredible. I'm so glad that you're both on this podcast. And also, you have to check out their podcast as well. Before we sign off. So why don't you guys share where people can find you? So Tom, why don't you start?
Yeah, so you can find us at atomicbusinesscoaching.com. That's the same for our Instagram handle and our Facebook, Atomic Business Coaching. And you can listen to our podcast on Spotify and everywhere else you get your podcasts at Atomic Business Coaching Podcast. And on our YouTube channel, it's at Atomic Coaching. Now that they've added those little simple ways to get to you on YouTube, it's at Atomic Coaching. So check us out there. And we're here for you. We're here to help everyone who is a business owner who's struggling to find that next chapter of their life and their business, and we'll help you clarify that.
Beautiful. Adam, where can people find you?
Yeah, all the same places. But I would just say, if anybody has listened to this and likes what they heard, or is interested in having a more individualistic conversation with us, feel free to DM us on Instagram. We don't delegate that out to somebody else. Tom and I love the community in there. We love communicating with people. So send us a DM there, ask us a question. We're not going to charge you a fee to do that. Maybe we're a good fit for you to work with, and then we could talk about our programs. Or maybe we know somebody, and like we said, with Long Island Networks, connect, collab, and grow. Maybe there's someone that we can give you as a resource. So if you just have a simple question or you're looking for something, don't be bashful. Send us a DM. We'll get right back to you, and hopefully we can help you out.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm so happy to have you both on.
Thanks for having
us.
You're so welcome. Guys, if you like this episode, like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.